This is Cheyenne Valentine back today again with a new episode. Today's episode, I'm going to do a video request. And I'm a little bit tired today, so I'm not going to be talking as fast as I normally talk. So I don't know what I'm going to title this video. I'm not quite sure. I might title it 80% of women go for the top percent of men with a question mark. But anyway, I'm going to read you all the email. Hopefully the person that sent it to me doesn't mind this, but it's a couple questions in this email. I could do a different video for each question, but I think I'm going to try to answer in this video. So here's the question. It says, people like to say that 80% of women go for the top 20% of men. How do you feel about this? Do you feel that there is a lack of sexable men? Do you feel that there is more attractive women that men can choose from than there is attractive men that women can choose from? Do you really think there is a lack of good men, or do you think there is a lack of good men that women want to see naked? It's odd to me because women already outnumber men, but then they have these high standards that's shrinking their dating pool even more. Based on the population, everybody can't get a man. Let me first say that no, I do not think that everybody's going to be able, no, I do not think that every woman is going to be able to quote unquote get a man. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think everyone will. That's just, I think some people, look, I'm spiritual, okay? So my belief, I think in a different way. So I think it could be possible that we're spirit beings living a human experience, and that we have incarnated multiple times and in different bodies, okay? So maybe this lifetime a person wasn't meant to get married. Maybe in the last lifetime they was married with multiple kids. Maybe this lifetime they want to experience not having a family and having that responsibility. Now they wanted to have a lifetime where they're single. Okay, maybe this lifetime they want to experience dating different people and not being settled down with one person, and maybe that's why they won't get married. I don't know, but I do not think everybody's going to get a man. I mean, some men don't even like women. Some men are gay. So, and then if we do the numbers, women compared to men, and let's get into that. This person said women already outnumber men, so with these high standards, the dating pool is shrinking. They claim women outnumber men. I don't know that for a fact, but I really don't know. I haven't researched that, but I have heard allegedly they do. If they do, then I mean they do. I mean, it's nothing we can do about that. Like I said, no, everybody's not going to get a man, but this is the thing: every man is not going to get a woman either. See, what kind of annoys me is that I kind of feel with some dudes, it's just my opinion, that they try to shame women into liking a certain type of guy by saying, well, you know, if you don't like him, you're going to be alone and you're not going to have a man. Okay, look, that shaming tactic doesn't work with me, because there's a lot of men that don't have a woman. I know several men in their 60s and 70s who are basically going to die alone. Okay, who are homeless. My father, he's a veteran, and I go to the VA hospital with him a lot, and he was telling me a lot of those men in there are homeless. Now, if they had a woman, right, would they be pretty much sleeping at the VA? No. Would they be homeless if they had a woman, right? If they were married, wouldn't they be at home with their wife? It's a lot of homeless men out here. So I just want to get this clear, because see, we're under this impression that, okay, since it's more women and it's less men, that okay, men have more women to choose from, so a man is never going to sleep alone at night. A man's going to always have a wife. A man, first of all, some of these men don't even want to get married. Okay, let's talk about this. Some of these men don't even want to be in a relationship, so let's talk about that. But I know some men who want to be in relationships, and sometimes the relationships don't work and he's alone, but yet everybody want to keep talking about how so many women out here, and so men have all these women to choose from. But then if that's the case, if it's so many women and such a small population of men, and men just have a surplus of women to choose from, then why are there men out here that are homeless, that are not married, that are single, that can't find a woman that they want? It's just so many, they got so many women to choose from. So look, that saying based on the population, everybody can get a man. Who cares? I mean, that's not. So if a woman can't get a man, quote unquote, that's in the world for her. No, it's a lot of men who can't get a woman. That's why they are complaining about women on YouTube, because they can't get a woman. Talking about women don't like guys that are shorter. They don't like guys. If they too tall, they complaining. If they short, they complaining. If they skinny, they complaining. If they heavy, they complaining. If they quiet, they complaining. If they outgoing, they're complaining. Like, it's always a complaint to talk about how they can't get the woman they want. But I thought, based upon this email, that it's more women than men. Okay, so I just want to go on a record and say that doesn't work on me saying, oh well, everybody can't get a man and all that. Okay, who cares? Just like every man can get a woman. They're not I know a lot of men out here who don't have a girlfriend, don't have a wife, and a lot of these men out here are homeless, especially at the VA when they get older like that. Where they wife at? There's so many women out here, right? Okay, so I hit that topic. So let's get into this. People like to say that 80% of women go for the top 20% of men. Okay, I don't know if that's true. I think that, okay, I would say maybe 80% of women are attracted to the top 20% of men. And then listen to this. It says people like to say that 80% of women go for the top 20% of men. Let's underline the word top. What does top mean? The best, right? At the top, the best, supreme, the highest. So yes, probably 80% of women are attracted to 20% of the top men. Because listen to this question. People like to say that 80% of women go for the top 20% of men. Now, if this person was to say 80% of women go for only 20% of men, then okay, that'd be weird. But they said the top 20%. So when we say top 20% of men, why are these men at the top? Why is that 20% at the top? Probably their money, their looks, personality, charm, and they probably have all four, right? So yeah, if a man is attractive, has money, charismatic, act like he got some sense, it's probably gonna be a lot of women that want him. Does that make sense what I'm saying? But 80% of women maybe they're gonna be attracted to the top 20% of men. So maybe this person meant that 80% of women are just attracted to 20% of men. Maybe that's what they meant. Because if you're going to tell me that 80%, most women, basically 80% is most women. If you're going to tell me that 80% of women are attracted to the top 20% of men, why would they not be? They're the top. They're at the top. They're the top 20%. They're something about that 20% of men is quote unquote better than the other percentage, right? So that's like me saying 80% of men are attracted to women that the top 20% of women, and those top 20% of women, the women look gorgeous. The women look like Amber Rose or Gabrielle Union. Well, of course, 80% of men are going to be attracted to 20% of the women who are very pretty. If 20% of women are drop dead gorgeous and the rest of us 80% didn't look like nothing, of course, the 80% of men are going to be attracted to that 20% because they're out of the ordinary. They're the top. Okay? Now, but I don't know if that's true, but like that question is kind of weird because I know I've heard this, but so it's like basically what these men are saying. Basically what they're saying is that if women only want the top, because who doesn't want the top? Who doesn't want the best, right? If they're saying if most women want the top, then they're basically making it to where they're not gonna have a man. Which I just told you my viewpoint on that. Okay, and your point. And a lot of men can't get a woman, so that's a shaming tactic to me. But anyway. So they're basically trying to say that if most women are going after the top 20%, well, first of all, if they're at the top, they're desirable. So yeah, women like to go after desirable men, just like men like to go after desirable women. But this is the difference between men and women. Men will sleep with anybody. See, this goes back to nature, human nature, the nature between men and women. Men always say to women, I noticed that, oh, you all want to be with a guy who's tall, 6'5", and he gotta be muscular, he got high money, and the guy has to have, like this person said, women, with the high standards. because the question said, do you really think? No, it's odd to me because women already outnumber men, but then they have these high standards that's shrinking their dating pool. Look, making a woman feel bad about having high standards is essentially me making a guy feel bad about wanting to screw everybody and having a really high sex drive. Okay, you can have something to say about it and you could think it's ridiculous, but at the same time, it's the reality of life. It's the reality, and people just gonna have to change. Just like men naturally seem to want to screw everybody, but people tell them you should pick a wife, pick one woman, settle down, and that's something they have to work at and control. And really, it's hard for them. It's hard for a woman to lower her standards. Why? Because the other men simply don't get her vagina wet. You can't put a dude that's 5 feet with a beer belly, a bald head, a Joe Pesci in front of a woman and expect her to want to rip his clothes off. Okay, and he's broke. You can't expect that. I can't put a woman that look like that in front of you and you'll want to rip her clothes off. But but since you got a penis between your legs, you see, men want to make it seem like they're different than women in this way. Men's standards are high too, ladies, when it comes to women, but only on how we look. See, women, we look for more than we look for, the guy's income, if he can provide, if he's handsome, his personality. We look for multiple things in one guy. So men think that's ridiculous, but we think it's ridiculous that y'all would sleep with anybody. We think it's ridiculous. See, men think it's ridiculous that our standards are quote unquote super high, but then we think it's ridiculous that you guys' standards are so low. That's all. The difference is one gender has standards that are perceived too high, and the other gender has standards that's perceived too low. See, with men, all the woman gotta do is be cute, be freaky. She's in that baby. She's in that baby. With a woman, it takes more than you being cute and freaky. Okay. What's your income? What's going on with your income? Can you provide? How do you treat women? Are really big on how a man treats her. How do you treat her? How do you talk to her? Do you respect her? Do you love her? Do you honor her even when she's not around? Women look at multiple things. Okay, and so men feel the standards are too high. Look, can some women's standards be too high? Yeah, and some men's standards can be too low, and it has to be a balance. And so, with this question, you can't. It's not ridiculous if this is true. It's not ridiculous that 80% of women could be attracted to the top 20% of men. Because you said top. This person said for the top 20%. Of course most women gonna be attracted to the top 20% of men, because that 20% of men probably is something special about them. They probably come off like the total package. Same with men. I'm pretty sure 80% of men are attracted to the top 20% of women. But the difference between men and women might be attracted to that 20%, but they would give their penis to all 100% of women though. That's the only difference. They would give their penis to all the women. So because women don't behave like that, men think our standards are too high. They can feel however they want to feel. The bottom line is, everybody gonna have to come down to reality. Men and women, everybody gonna have to come down to reality. No matter how low your standards are or how high they are or wherever you are, you're gonna have to come to reality and deal with the world as it is and get in where you fit in. So if a woman has high standards to y'all, which is expecting a guy to be attractive, have a good income, respect her, guess want to get married and all that, that's probably gonna be, she probably can't get all that in one guy. And so she is going to have to compromise. With men, a lot of y'all standards are super low anyway. So long as the woman looks good and freaky, y'all good to go. So I think you all should kind of raise your standards up a little bit, because a woman can see, with men, women can get in the door a little bit too easy. With y'all, I've seen men go Google Gaga over a woman they thought was pretty and who was super freaky. That's all it literally took. And when the girl didn't want him no more, he was heartbroken. And I'm like, damn, that's all it took for you to get sprung? Okay, so it's weird. So the next question was, do you feel that there is a lack of sexable men? I don't feel there's a lack of... I don't know how to say this. It's not that most men are unattractive or anything. It's just that most women I know have a moderate to low sex drive, so they don't get turned on that easy. So the guy has to have more than just a cute face and a nice body. He has to treat her well. She has to get to know his personality. Like all women, this is how I look at it. Think of a book. Okay. think of an application. You fill out the first part of the application is the first page of the application. Let's say the application is like, no, that's a bad example because most applications aren't that long. But let's just talk about, let's go back to the first example, a book. When I think about a guy and how most women I know think about a guy, they look at a guy as like a book. So how the guy looks is just the cover. Okay. But she ain't gonna purchase the, so the book, so how he looks is the cover. Okay. And then let's just say the first chapter is his personality. And then the second chapter is, okay, how he treats her. And the third chapter is, okay, his income. You see what I'm saying? And then once she gets to the end of the book, now after she reads the book, she can determine, okay, either she likes the book or she doesn't. She has to read the book, right, for her to figure out if she likes it or not. She can't just, read the summary and say, I like the book. Doesn't she have to read the book completely to figure out if she likes it or not? And also, isn't the cover what draws her? The title in the cover, what the title is in the cover, the title, is a part of the cover, right? Doesn't that draw her to the book to begin with? The title, which is part of the cover, isn't that what draws her to the book and then makes her want to read it? Okay, so the man's looks is what draws her to him initially. So he got to have some type of looks. And so to imply that is there a lack of sexable men, I can't say that, because women are just built different than men. See, men don't think there's a lack of men do not think there is a lack of sexable women, which basically means men don't think there's a lack of women that they will have sex with, because men will have sex with anybody. Women, it's not that something's wrong with how the majority of men look per se. It's just women are just built different. They don't get aroused as easily. So you can't look, they just don't. And I can say the same thing for women, as far as there could be a lack of sexable women. If a man, can a man really tell me that most women he sees drop dead gorgeous? That's a lie. Most people on this planet are not drop dead gorgeous, not in my opinion. So I feel like the only reason why men feel like most women are sexable is because that's what that word means. Sexable, meaning the person is good enough to have sex with. Men feel like any woman is good enough to have sex with. The difference is women don't feel like any man is good enough to have sex with, because she's looking at more than just his looks. She's looking at the total person. See, men can departmentalize and separate it. He can just see her, okay, big booty, nice chest. Okay, I want to have sex with her. Women is more than that. She not even if this dude looks super handsome, muscular, and look good, yeah, it might cross her mind, but she's like, well, I want to get to know him. I want to see his personality. I want to see how he treats me. What is he doing with himself? What is his career? Like, all of that is important to a woman. So it's not that I think most men are just inherently unattractive and they're not worthy of having sex with. It's just women don't want to jump every dude's bones, because we just how they are. Our sex drive can allow us to be more picky. When you have a super high sex drive, it has you jumping on everybody. And most men have a super high sex drive. Most women I know have a moderate to low one. There are women with high sex drives, but most women I have met, their sex drive is moderate to low. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. So they can afford to wait to find someone who has more what they're looking for. They're not, just because a dude walked past them and he smiled, she's not going to just jump his bones like that. Okay. It says, do you feel that there is more attractive women that men can choose from than there is attractive men that women can choose from? And I kind of answered that. No, I think that I feel like men and women both, the average man and woman looks average. So when you go outside, most people you see, you probably think they're average looking and you're not going to want to jump their bones. The difference is the men can see an average looking woman or basic looking woman and still want to have sex with her. So to answer the question, I feel like equally men and women. Think about models, right? Models are supposed to be out the ordinary. They supposed to look different than the average, person. They supposed to look more attractive, which I don't agree with that, than the average person. Okay, but that's just a standard they put they tried to say that a certain look equals beauty, but that's not true. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But just for the sake of the argument, I'm not going to get into beauty's in the eye of the beholder and all that. I'm not going to get into all that yet. What I just want to stick to the subject at hand. This is just my opinion. When I talk to men and women, when they go outside, most people they see is just average looking, but the difference is the woman is not going to want to jump the bones just naturally of an average looking dude. You know, she would have to get to know him. She would have to see what's going on with his income. She would have to see his personality. She would have to see how he treats her. All that will come into play. With a guy, though, he can go outside every day and see average looking women and basically want to jump their bones because a lot of men are horny all the damn time. It's not that men see all these beautiful women. I might be wrong, fellas. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when men go out, it's not that they see such beautiful women. It's just that they get aroused very easily. And I was told by a man that men see women as body parts. So her face can be busted, but if he likes her breasts and her butt, and he's thinking about, and men can have an orgasm very easily. Well, not easily, but most men have an orgasm each time they have sex, or they'll keep doing it until they have one. So for a man, sex is like a guaranteed orgasm. So he's thinking about just that great feeling. And so any woman can give him that, even if she's basic looking. So I do not think it's more, let me read this question again. Yeah, I do not think it's more attractive women that men can choose from, and that they're just, and no, I don't feel that there are more attractive women for men to choose from. And no, I don't. I think most men and women, generally speaking, are average looking when you go out. That's why when you see a person who looks different in a pack, you're like, oh, they're beautiful, right? Male or female. I just feel like men feel like most women are worthy of. I feel like most men are just how their biology is. They feel they'll sleep with any woman for the most part. I heard a man actually say that he looks for reasons to sleep with a woman instead of not. Most women I know, they get turned off easy. They look for reasons to not have sex with a guy. And what I mean, look for reasons, they just get turned off easily. With men, they get turned on easily. So women get turned off easily and men get turned on easily. So I heard a guy say that he looked for reasons to have sex with a woman. So basically, if she got green stuff in her teeth, she's going bald with one toe, okay, he'll say, well, that one toe is kind of sexy. I never had sex with a woman with one toe. Let me try it out. This is what I was told. Women are different. They like, oh, he got green stuff in his teeth. Oh, his breath smells bad. Get out my. Nah, I would never have sex with you. They just, men and women just different like that. So I don't think it's just more attractive women, and I don't think that it's less attractive men, and that's why women don't find most men attractive. I just think their biology is different. To where the woman, she just don't get aroused as much. So she gotta look for more than just looks in a guy, because she's just not turned on all the time like that. Next question. Do you really think, this is a good one. The person said, do you really think there is a lack of good men, or do you think there is a lack of good men that women want to see naked? No, I think there's a lack of good men. And listen to what I'm saying. Okay. I'm okay. I know what this person meant. They meant, okay, do I think there's a lack of good men? There's a difference to me between, I did a video about this. There's a difference to me between a good man and a guy who's good in a relationship. I know a couple good guys, okay, but nobody wants to date them, and it's not because they're good. It's because they have other issues. Like my one friend, I told you about him. He's socially awkward. He plays the video games all day. He doesn't care about what a woman likes. He's kind of passive. He doesn't take the lead. A woman doesn't feel protected by him. He's boring. And when I say boring, men might say, oh, you don't like guys who are square. No. He's not even a square. Okay, this man watches pornography. He pays for sex. He ain't no square. I don't know what your guys' definition of a square is. He is not what I don't even want to talk about squares and all that. I just want to keep it to the subject. The bottom line is, just because someone's a good man does not mean he will make a good boyfriend. Just because a woman's a good woman doesn't mean she'll be a good girlfriend. So you could be a good person but not be good in a romantic relationships. Okay, so like my friend, he's a good person, so you can trust your kids around him. You wouldn't, be concerned about him trying to rape you or anything. You could talk to him about things, but however, he doesn't turn a woman on. Like, she doesn't feel protected around him. A woman went out with him and a fight broke out, and she said he was standing around and didn't know what to do. She wanted him to grab her and walk her out, and she felt she had to protect him. Okay, he doesn't talk. This man literally doesn't talk. He plays video games all day. He doesn't like to go out. He doesn't even want to watch a movie that a woman's interested in. It's all about what he wants. I heard from his ex, he's very controlling. Like, he has a lot of things that makes him bad in a relationship. I heard he's cheap. He has a lot of things that makes him bad in a relationship, but he's a good person though. You can trust him around your children. Okay, you can be alone with him and not worry about him trying to attack you. He's a good person. So when this person asks me, do I think there's a lack of good men, or do I think there's a lack of good men that women want to see naked? Now, I don't think that's true. Okay, because like I said, there might not be a lack of good men as a person in the world, but this is just my opinion. I feel there's a lack of men who are good in relationships. I do. Some men, have you ever met somebody, known somebody, like a cousin? Known someone. Let me rephrase that. Have you ever been around a uncle or a cousin, male cousin, or your brother, if you have a brother, or just a male, or ever had a male friend where this person was great being that to you, being your friend, being your uncle, being your cousin, but when you hear them talk about how they treat women in relationships, it's horrible. Okay, so they can be a good person, a good man, like, just a good person, good human being, but be bad in a relationship. Same for a woman. She can be a good human being, a good person, a good woman, but she can be a bad girlfriend or wife. So I do think there's a lack of men who are good in relationships. There might not be a lack of good men. I don't know. I really don't know if there's a lack of just good men who got morals and just a good man in the world. I really don't know. But I know, as far as from what I've seen, as far as relationships, I think there is a lack of good men, and that there's a lack of men who are good in relationships. Okay. Then you ask, or do I think there's a lack of good men that women want to see naked? So this person's basically saying, is it really just a lack of good men, or is it that there's good men out here, but because women don't find those men attractive, they want to say there aren't any good men? I think a woman would be woman enough to say that. If I don't think women will have a problem with saying, okay, there are men in the world who are good in relationships, but I just simply don't find him attractive. So it is what it is. And this is what I want to say too. So are you men proposing that women date a guy that are you proposing that women date a guy that's good in a relationship, but she has no physical attraction to him? Because in my honest opinion, if she don't want to see him naked at all, and if there's no sexual attraction, then she shouldn't have to have sex with him then. But wait a minute. If she doesn't want to have sex, then he's not going to stick around. So do you men really want women to date men? Let me tell you, men, for the men who claim that you're a good man, do you want a woman to date you because you are a good guy? Do you want a woman to date you because you're good in a relationship? But if she told you she does not want to see you naked, therefore she would not have sex with you, would you want to be with her? Hell no. Okay, so you all should not want a woman to date a guy who she's not sexually attracted to at all, because she's not going to be happy, and the result of that's going to be you're not going to be happy, because she's not going to want to have sex with you. Because I know this is an argument that dudes like to say, oh, well, there are good men out here, which when they say good men, they just mean there are men who are good in relationships. There are men out here who are good in relationships, but because you women don't like how they look, you want to make it seem like there aren't any men out here that are good in relationships, or good men, quote unquote. I can make the same argument about men. I can say that for the men who are talking about there aren't any good women out here, it's because they went after women who who they liked how she looked, but she turned out to be a horrible person, and they did not want the women who did not look the way they, the women who did not look the way they want them to, they did not want to date her. Okay, they did not want to date her. I could play the same game. I can tell men, okay, there are good women out here, or women who will be good in relationships. Just date the ones that you don't find attractive, and then, okay, date the ones that you don't want to see naked. Date the women that you not want to see naked, and then just date her because she will be good in a relationship. But then you're like, okay, but why? Yeah, she's great. She's good in a relationship in one aspect, but I don't even want to touch her. So no, I do not think that women, maybe some women don't want to come off and look like the bad guy, but I don't feel like a woman would come off as the bad guy if she says, yes, I've been with some men who were good in relationships, but I literally did not want to touch him or have sex with him, so I broke up with him because it didn't work. I do not think that women are saying that there is a lack of good men, or quote unquote men that are good in relationships, because the men who are good in relationships, they don't want to see them naked. So they're pretending like, okay, there aren't any good men, but the men who are good are just men they just don't want. I don't think that's, for some women that might be the case, but not for all, because if she was to say that to you men, what would be your response? If she was to say, well, all the men that I tried to date that I was not physically attracted to at all were they treated me well in relationships, but I didn't want to touch them. Are you going to tell her to continue, that she should have continued with that? Or are you going to say, well, there are good men out here, but you're just you just want to make it seem like it's not because the men who are good men, you don't like how they look. Look, I'm telling you, there is a lack of men who are good in relationships. It's a lack of them. Just like some men are going to say there's a lot of women who are not good in relationships. Are you all just saying there are women who are not good in relationships because the women who look good are the ones that's treating y'all bad? And then the ones that are the ones that you all find, for the men, the women that you find unattractive, are those the women that treat y'all well, but you want to pretend like there aren't any good women because the women that you really want, that look good and look like models, won't treat you right? I mean, this can go both ways. We could play this game back and forth. And I'm not really with games, but to answer the question, basically, no, there is a lack of men who are good in relationships. And the ones who are quote unquote, because I know several men who I thought would look horrible naked. I know several of them, and I seen how they treated women, and they did not treat women very well. Okay, so I think it's this misconception that if a guy is handsome, that he automatically treats a woman bad. No, excuse me. I think it's a misconception that if a guy is unattractive, that he's automatically a good guy. He treats women well. No. Just because a man has a beer belly, balding, and breath stank, and teeth all crooked, does not mean that he's going to treat her well to compensate for his ugly looks. No, not at all. I've seen men that look like that and still would treat the woman like trash. Okay, so no, it's not that the women are saying that there's a lack of good men because the men who are quote unquote good, they don't like how they look, so they're gonna act like, okay, there are no good men. No, there are some good men in the world, but there are a lot of men who are not good in relationships.